Guillermo del Toro takes a stab at the latest Pinocchio adaptation on Netflix. Let's see if it's worth your time. Hey everybody, my name's Justin here. I try to watch everything that hits theaters and on streaming services like Netflix. If you guys are like me, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below for more up and coming content. A father's wish magically brings a wooden boy to life in Italy, giving him a chance to care for the child. I was really looking forward to Guillermo del Toro's stop motion animated Pinocchio film. I'm a huge fan of the Pinocchio story, and there's been 3 of them now this year. I found the latest live action Disney remake to be quite disappointing. So I was hopeful that this film would be like the best Pinocchio film this year, and it is. This film was really good. It is an interesting film. There's a lot of different themes in here that are a bit hard to watch, and I really don't see kids enjoying this film, and I can see parents being upset with what this film does cover. Because at times this film tries to be whimsical and heartwarming, and it succeeds at that. But also is dark. It talks a lot about death and war and loss and love, and those themes are very heavy within this film. We have a nice progression of Pinocchio within this film. In the beginning of the film, we have the story that's set up with Geppetto and Geppetto's son, Carlo, and the loss of his son, which causes him to create Pinocchio. And then Pinocchio is brought to life. The similar story that we already know from the Disney movie. But then, once Pinocchio starts to learn what it means to be a human and be alive, he is thrown into these contracts, and he's thrown into war, and he's being shot at, he's being burned alive. There's a lot of different things that it does cover, and it covers what happens when he dies and how he can come back to life several times. And that progression of this character goes from very excited to just explore everything and be so giddy and excited about everything, to the later half of the movie, to all these dark themes that the film is covering. We see that progression to this character starts to question things about war and being afraid of things. The character is slowly starting to develop and understanding what it means to be a human, and all of these struggles and hardships that people go through. He experiences that all in the midst of war in Italy. He's being used for war, he's being used for shows, he's constantly being taken advantage of, and we see the darker side of humanity kind of take control over Pinocchio in this film. And at times I was baffled with how this film was presented, and I did think at the end of it all, it was a nice kind of development for this character, all these challenges that humans go through, and he's so eager to be a human and be a boy, and what he experiences may halt that decision in the end for him. So all of these challenges are hard to watch, but they just add to that character of Pinocchio, and seeing how he's able to adapt and overcome things, and then also that change of character throughout. And Gregory Mann voices Pinocchio. He does a fabulous job in here. He handles the more whimsical, fun moments in the beginning. He's very curious, but by the end of it, the tone for Pinocchio changes, and it's deeper, it's darker. You could hear the heartbreak within Gregory Mann's voice acting and how he handles the later half of the film for Pinocchio. We also have Ewan McGregor in here as Sebastian J. Cricket, who travels inside of Pinocchio as his guide and his conscience. Ewan McGregor has a natural, smooth narration, but I also liked him as Sebastian J. Cricket. We also have David Bradley as Geppetto, Pinocchio's father. There's a very emotional sequence in the beginning of the film when he loses his boy. He's drinking, he wants his son back, and then he takes the tree that the son is buried next to and starts to carve Pinocchio out of that. You hear just that personal connection between Geppetto and his son, and it's so heartbreaking to listen to. The voice acting in here is fabulous. Now, the stop motion animation is so good. I've been seeing a lot of behind the scene looks for this film on Facebook and Twitter and TikTok, and every time I see it, I'm just so amazed with how these films are created, and I love how it looks. I saw this in theaters and it looks great on the big screen. All of the bright colors, you can see the detail to Pinocchio and all of the scenes. It just looks amazing. I'm so glad I went out and saw this in theaters before it does hit Netflix, because it looked amazing on the big screen. But overall with Pinocchio, I was really surprised with the story. But I think it stayed true to the classic story of Pinocchio, having that development, but a lot of it is just dark. It's so deep for this film. It started off very whimsical and charming between both Carlo and Geppetto, and then we had Pinocchio introduced there. Then we had Tilda Swinton voicing a magical fairy who sees the spirit that gave Pinocchio life. Once Pinocchio dies, we see other characters and talking about death and all the questions that he has. And the end of the film, I got a little emotional talking about loved ones and how Pinocchio will be around even after his loved ones passed away. And so there's a lot of things in here that it does cover. I think some parents may be a little bit turned off when watching this movie because of its themes. It might be some things that kids question and ask about things, but I do think that it is a great film. One of my favorite Pinocchio adaptations. I love the Disney version, but this one felt so different, but more mature, but also balancing those whimsical and charming moments, and the voice acting is great. The stop motion animation is beautiful. I can't wait to see this again. So before I give you my score for Pinocchio, make sure to check out my channel. Here I do movie reviews, trailer actions, ranking videos, tier lists, all that fun movie related content that you see on YouTube. I do it all here, so hit that subscribe button to get it all in one spot. And if you'd like to see where Pinocchio ranks amongst all the other 2022 releases I have seen this year, follow me on Letterboxd. There you can find my ranking. I'm going to go ahead and give Pinocchio an A-. Thank you guys for watching my review for Pinocchio. Have you guys seen it in theaters yet? What'd you think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below. And stay tuned for more up and coming content like this. My name is Just Watches Movies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.